Hello, my name is Jim Solomon, and I'd like to thank those of you who made this possible for me to show this. I really wish I could be there in Indiana to share some time with all of you at this memorial service for Vijay. Unfortunately, I couldn't get away, and so I appreciate all the effort that has gone in to allow me to share some thoughts and feelings about Vijay. I first met him back in the early 1990s when we were classmates together at Ohio University, and I tell you, I knew right away there was something special about him. I had come all the way from California to Ohio, so for me that was a very great distance, probably not as far as obviously those who had come from overseas, from other countries in our program, but I felt very intimidated being into that program. It's obviously a lot of very talented people working on their graduate school programs, and I found myself sizing myself up against others, wondering whether I belonged or not. And Vijay very quickly, put his hand out and, "Hi, I'm Vijay, and who are you?" He was very great at getting to know people and making them feel welcome. Kind of ironic for me, even as a communication professor, that I've always kind of struggled with that at times, of getting to know people in new settings. And he just had a real knack. He's a very much a people person, and I really admired that about him, that he could make himself comfortable and make others comfortable around him so easily. The other thing I learned about him very quickly, while I enjoyed being around him and how comfortable he made me feel, I also recognized very quickly his brilliance. He was a wonderful student, constantly with his nose in the book, reviewing material, reading new articles, trying new ideas to test in a study, on top of the studies we're already doing. And I really admired that about him, not to mention the fact that he spoke several languages, which I don't. I just found it very amazing what talent he had available to him. One time in particular, I was taking a statistics class, and I was struggling with one of my math problems at the time, and I sat down with him just really frustrated with what to do. And he went through and just very easily, very calmly helped me through what my problem was, but didn't make me feel less than, didn't make me feel stupid. I mean, I really appreciate his ability to just share his knowledge and to be very helpful as a friend and as a teacher and as a colleague and a classmate. I mentioned earlier that he was very good about meeting people, and that went there. I don't think there was any group of people that he couldn't relate to in some way. As I said, I'm from Modesto, California, and my in-laws were travelers. They had been all around the world, and even though we had moved across country, my in-laws really enjoyed coming out. And what was so fun was that Vijay got to know my in-laws, and he would ask about them on a regular basis. And when he would come over while they would visit, he and my father-in-law, who was also a former college professor, university professor, would have these wonderful conversations. It was kind of fun just kind of watching. It was almost like watching television. These two brilliant men just having this great conversation about all kinds of ideas. And he was funny. My mother-in-law loved him. He made her laugh. But I found it kind of fascinating that this elderly man, at some point when he would finally drop the luggage off in the house, he would say, "Well, where's my boy Vijay?" And I just thought that was pretty amazing, that he had made such an impression on people that weren't even related to him, that were coming to visit us. I think that's just an amazing talent. It showed how much people just genuinely loved being around him. The thing that I recognized very early about Vijay, and it seemed to be a constant with him, was his genuine love for service to others. In grad school, a lot of people struggle, trying to get by. There were times when I knew Vijay was struggling, and yet he had found some grad student in another department someplace, and he was, giving that person some food or helping them out in some way or helping them move into their new apartment or whatever. On a personal note, our oldest daughter, Adriana, periodically we need to get away and just kind of get away from the baby for a little bit. And Vijay enjoyed volunteering to babysit. And we really appreciated that. What was so funny, I guess, was that our daughter was very, very Dutch, very pale skin, towhead blonde hair, and all she saw was us, and she saw her grandparents, and so she was fascinated by Vijay and his dark skin, and she would reach out to touch it because she wanted to experience it, which I thought was kind of interesting. And he would spend this time, playing with her, and if she would cry, he would be the only one that at the moment could really calm her down. And then when he would leave, of course, she cried because he was gone. And it just really shows a very genuine Vijay loving children. And I really just admired that about him. The other thing was that he and I had done a conference paper together back in Washington, D.C. Well, we learned that our paper had been accepted, and we were making preparations on, the hotel and the room and all that kind of stuff, and we were going to room with some of the other grad students. and Vijay said, "Oh, no, let me just get the phone book out. I'll find a Krishna in the phone book, and I'll call him up, and it'll be no problem, Jim. We'll go to their house. Believe me, it's fine. We do this all the time." And maybe that's true, but that was so foreign to me that I was just going to drop in on some stranger I'd never met, and he had never met, and it was going to be okay for us to do that. But it was such a funny experience to me, and I think he finally gave in because he knew that I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. But it was great. The last thing that I will always remember, anytime we invited him over for dinner or any type of meal or just spending time together, before he would leave, he would go to my wife Jenny, and he'd say, "Jenny, give me your hand. I'm going to read your palm." And then he would just make up whatever by saying, "Oh, you're going to have a very long life, and you're going to have lots and lots of beautiful children, and you love Jim very much." I mean, you'd say all this stuff, just totally make up whatever, and you get to the point where it became this running gag, where every time we knew it was coming, that he was going to read our palms, and he would say this, and he would almost start laughing before he even got started. And I just love those times. He was so fun, and I think on top of all the brilliance and the great talent that he had, the fact that he was so fun, I'm just so very blessed that I've known him. Really wish nothing but comfort and peace to Vijay's family and to all of his friends who are mourning right now. I loved him very much, I still do, and I have very fond memories of him, and thank you very much for allowing me to share this with you.